Immigration reform has been a top priority for the Trump administration. And my next guest is certainly an expert in the field. He has represented a range of clients, including the First Lady's parents. I'm pleased to welcome Michael Wilds to the show. He is the managing partner at Wilds & Weinberg and author of the new book, Safe Haven in America, Battles to Open the Golden Door. Thanks for being with us, Michael.
Thank you, Michelle.
Well, as we mentioned, you represented Melania's Trump's parents in getting their citizenship. Now, there were allegations that they may have shortcut the system, that they were given special treatment because they are the parents of the First Lady. What do you say to that?
That's just banter. In all truth, they went through the process like everybody else went through the process. I sat with both mother and father in the interview questions. They were separated. They weren't given easy questions like who's the president of the United States with a picture of their son-in-law behind the examiner. They had the same privilege as Mrs. Trump did, where millions of others travailed America's golden doors, to have a petition filed for them by their citizen child and to go through the same vetting and ultimately to be awarded the Golden Grail. That's a U.S. passport.
Now, Michael, some have criticized the president for hypocrisy here, saying that he's against chain migration while having his wife's parents come in. But just to be clear, the president's policies are for family reunification. They're just limiting to what extent you can bring in family members. So parents can still come in, spouses, children, brothers and sisters. The new policy just restricts aunts and uncles and cousins and in-laws, which could be a blessing for some. But just to clarify that.
Well, to the president's credit, he didn't stop his mother-in-law from coming to the United States. No, look, honestly, to clear the record, Michelle, you could never bring an aunt or an uncle in. And the president has now given this derogatory term of chain migration to a landmark, a hallmark of immigration policy, which is family reunification. The notion that people can bring close relatives. They'll work harder, they'll love harder.
But what's changed?
The president wants to...
Because you can still bring in spouses, children,
No, the law hasn't
parents.
changed. The president is trying to convince voters that it should change.
Under the race policy, that is still the standard. He does, however, say that he does want to push forward the concept of merit-based immigration, point-based system, which looks at skills.
Canada and Australia have point-based systems. America has a point-based system. If you look at the O visa, the extraordinary ability standards and so forth, the dialogue has to change. It's really up to Congress to deal with immigration laws, and that was the thesis of why I wrote this book. The book reads like a spy novel or thriller. Some of the cases where the guy who subdued Richard Reed, the shoe bomber, KGB spies that were given the authority to give green cards, and then immigration denied the green cards. These are hallmark cases that show that our immigration laws are changing. We have to work hard, Michelle, to onboard foreign students into the workforce and not compete against them after they have their F-1 visas in the future. We have to work hard to use immigration for human asset intelligence to reward heroes, the gentleman who subdued...
But then why wouldn't point-based immigration system be better for that? Because currently chain migration makes about 70% of all legal immigration. With every 2 new immigrants bringing 7 foreign relatives with them, only 1 in 15 foreign nationals admitted comes to the country based on skills and employment purposes. Doesn't it make sense to contribute better to the U.S. economy and society if we go this approach?
It makes sense for our broken laws to be changed. We have employers that cannot bring people to the United States, and it doesn't matter if you're onboarding through the family ledger or the professional ledger, but to make sure we get the right quality. And the thesis of my book, America's Golden Doors, needs to be hinged open so it can slam shut on crime, and it could open so that the next inventions and the next developments can be here. We see in the South Bronx to the corridors of blueberries where they're being picked by agricultural workers, and the hospitality corridors throughout the United States, how immigrant labor has made America stronger.
Absolutely.
And the president, unfortunately, despite my allegiance to his wife and their immigration matters, is basically trying to scare the hell out of everyone into believing that somebody with an accent is going to cause us harm.
I don't know if that's accurate, Michael. We can both be a nation of laws and a nation of immigrants.
I agree, and I'm a former federal prosecutor.
It seems like it's about enforcing tough actions against illegal immigration, but at the same time promoting legal immigration.
So
does your book touch on that notion?
It does all the time. You have a wall that's going to be built with 11 or 12 million people unlawfully present behind the wall. So we have legal immigration. But if individuals do not leave the United States, if we do not come up with a comprehensive plan to give American employers the kind of tools that they need, we're going to be facing an even more drastic program. The last president to change our immigration laws, President Reagan, gave away 3 million green cards in an amnesty when he shifted the responsibility then to employers. Now employers have to do the government's job of policing immigration in an old arcane system for a different kind of economy. There's a new normal now, and if we don't get ahead of the terrorists, if we don't use Homeland Security measures to also protect our economy, the greatest risk takers, the greatest entrepreneurs in our nation's history have been immigrants who then become citizens, who then employ Americans.
Right, but this is all being done legally. I mean, isn't that the point?
Yeah, but the problem is if it takes you
legally?
15 years for an employer to bring somebody over from another country, or for a parent to come from another country to a child here, that is wrong.
It is a long and cumbersome process. I can personally attest to that.
I sense an accent.
You do indeed. It took me 10 years to become a proud citizen.
So was
of
that
this
right
country.
that you had to wait 10 years?
You know, I did it the right way. I was happy to do it, paid my dues.
But we can do, this is a deal maker, our president. You can get a good system and you can make an efficient system that gives people the biblical straw that the pharaohs took away from the Hebrews. You can give people the tools that they need faster and more emphatically and seamlessly in these days with technology and everything
Right.
the way it is.
Can definitely be both tough on illegal immigration and speed up and make the process of legal immigration more easy and efficient. And we thank you for doing your
Pleasure.
part in that. Thank you so much, Michael. And don't forget to pick up a copy of his book, Safe Haven in America, Battles to Open the Golden Door. And it is a golden door indeed for many.